am very excited right now because we are about to dive into the beta sprite sheet for the second generation of Pokemon. I mean, one quick glance and you can see that there are Pokemon that have never been seen before, unreleased designs, as well as different changes to existing Pokemon. This is going to be crazy, and one of the weird things is that Chikorita is effectively unchanged, and Meganium is the same as well. So you look at all these different Pokemon, you see all these different changes and interpretations, but Chikorita doing fine, but what is this? That middle form doesn't really make any sense. Like, Meganium makes a lot of sense. Meganium actually has a nice little flow to it, but I can see maybe what they were trying to do, that Chikorita kind of regresses into a really crazy photosynthetic state and then tries to like bloom in a cocoon kind of flower blossom and then become Meganium. But it looks like, you know, this should be the first, and then maybe this is the second, but then Meganium does things. I don't really know what's going on here, but these are Pokemon we've seen before. However, we start to dive into the new guys and the crazy ones, except these are fairly known. So anyone that's had experience like beta Pokemon or trying to look into unreleased Pokemon stuff, we have Kurusu and Honoguma. These are, like, it's so crazy. The only known information about this creature is the name and image. In the playable alpha demo of Gold and Silver, its national Pokedex number was 212, new Growl, Water Gun, Tackle. Despite its Pokedex numbering, it was the Water type starter in the demo. So that was, like, these are the Water and Fire type starter Pokemon, which makes it even crazier to think that, yeah, Chikorita stayed the same, that it survived alpha, beta, and all that, but we had some massive changes right here. And, like, this is a cute little fire mouse guy. Now, I love Cyndaquil evolutionary line and Typhlosion even more. Typhlosion is my second favorite Pokemon. But, I mean, these are cool. Why didn't this happen for, like, future generation Pokemon? Like, where'd this design go? That is an awesome Pokemon. The evolution, still pretty solid as well. Now, going into the water type, again, this isn't Feraligatr. This is very different to what we are used to seeing. And it's kind of like the Seal evolution into a Loch Ness Monster Pokemon. That's pretty cool. So it's like a mix between Poplio evolutionary line and Dratini Dragonair. Like, that's the vibes I'm getting, just like the little horn and then the little necklace thing right there, or the gem on its neck. So that's pretty cool. That design, like, I like it. I like it a lot. And then even from behind, like, it feels like you're battling with some power right there. Hoot Hoot looks pretty much the same, but you know what wasn't the same? Noctowl. But then when we get to Noctowl, I don't even know how to describe that. Like, that is a really round and straightforward but very simple design, and it kind of keeps the little foot thing that Hoot Hoot is going on with. So yeah, it just looks like a more grown-up Hoot Hoot, but not really anything more defined outside that evolution. So that's a drastic change, even though it really is just more of a simple design. As for the Ampharos evolutionary line, not really too many changes. Like, Mareep looks a little different, but still pretty much the same concept. A bit darker, and I think that's more just about the coloring on the the color palette for the second generation. Flappy looks the same, Ampharos looks the same. It's not really too many differences right there, but this is where the shenanigans begin. That is a baby Vulpix. Wait, what? So we already knew about baby Pokemon. We already have baby Pokemon. Those ended up being released. So it looks like, and we can see a lot of different baby Pokemon that never made it into the second generation games. So it looks like there was supposed to be a lot of baby Pokemon from the first generation actually applying into the second generation. And that's something crazy. But then it gets crazier because not only was it baby Pokemon, but we have evolutions as well. So we have Tangela, baby Pokemon pre-evolution. Then we have the, this is Proto Tangrowth right here. Huh. It's definitely a lot different. It looks to be more like a Gloom kind of feel, kind of taking that plant elegance, girly kind of look, and then getting really, really interesting about it. But that's a thing that exists. And then we get into some other designs. So Quillfish and an evolution. So Quillfish looks the same, but this Barbie urchiny looking thing definitely new. So that's something crazy. And then this guy, holy crap, is this actually like Mantine's original design? Because I think that is amazing. We have a duality of light and dark. Like, it looks angelic on the front, but it looks spectral, haunting, malicious on the back. Like, I would have loved to see this be a dark water type Pokemon or something like that for the second generation. Really trying to sell those concepts I think maybe a few things could be lost because you only see the sides depending on what you're battling with. So if you're battling with it, then that means you only see the darkness. And if you're battling against it, you only see the light, which is kind of hard to maybe get the concept across. But this is amazing. Like, where are these ideas in Pokemon? Because that is some really cool stuff. Then we go into Pichu. So early Pichu. It seems like they took the Generation 1 Pikachu sprite, you know, the original fat Pikachu. It looks like they tried to evolve into that, which is kind of crazy. But then Pichu becoming a much different design. And I'm wondering if maybe that also shows kind of like the change they had with Pikachu. That original fat mascot Pikachu has evolved into something else in its own over the last couple generations. And now we all know the more streamlined mascot Pikachu that we have. And it seems like Pichu kind of resembles that just a little bit. Igglybuff is weird. So, like, Cleffa, this is another thing where they're really trying to sell, like, that Clefairy, alien, starbound, extraterrestrial kind of Pokemon, and that really feels it on the Cleffa. A lot different. We can see how Cleffa kind of became a bit more sensical. Like, it feels like an actual creature instead of something that's forced design as this weird star thing. I can understand why they put a little bit of floof for Igglybuff, because, yeah, Jigglypuff, ball into ball, makes sense, but then that's a little too bare, if you ask me, and that's something. Quagsire looks a bit different. Not an insane change, but still has that dead stare, still has the future unawareness to it, and then just a little bit of, like, just changes in design overall. So that's nothing too different. Same with, like, Natsu and Zatsu. I guess it's just different spriting. Unless... I was about to say, unless, like, that's actually it holding something, or it's more of, like, that totem design has a 3D feel to it. But even then, I don't think so. So, much like how we have the original Pokemon sprites, like, red and green version versus red, blue, yellow, and all those sprites had a lot of changes, this just seems like generic, normal sprite changes, and not major design overhauls, or just entirely new Pokemon like we've seen. But, pre-evolution to Goldeen is not something I would ever expect, ever, about anything, ever. And it just looks like a standard goldfish with a little horn on its head that becomes the Goldeen that becomes Seaking. I can understand why that one didn't make it through, because it doesn't really seem like it does anything. And, like, adding a pre-evolution Goldeen seems like one of the more meaningless ones, I guess. Early Marill. I think that's another one from, like, the beta Pokemon designs thing that's like, oh, Marill used to be purple. I think we've scrolled down enough, we'll eventually find that, because there's a mix on this one. Yeah, there it is. Marill. An early version of Marill, while they were recognizably similar, visually quite different. Pink-purple color is the main difference, as well as notably missing the large ears. So yeah, there is a split. There's Pokemon whose designs have changed, and then there's also just new beta Pokemon like we've never seen before that were just completely unused or recycled into something else. Now, the weird one is this unnamed creature from one of the promotional material actually doesn't seem to have anything to do with him on top and isn't present inside of this game. So it made it to concept art, but didn't make it to the game. All that promotional stuff kind of fell apart, which is another kind of weird aspect about what's going on. Now we get into some fish. So that seems like standard cool little fish thing. I don't know, like, okay, never mind, if this is an evolutionary line, then it makes a lot more sense. The colors tell me that's evolution. Let's say if this is just standalone Pokemon, it doesn't really work out, but this, I like this idea. A shark that has an anchor for a tail? I'm guessing we got, like, a little bit of, like, sharp, is this, wait a second. If we draw a line through here, we have Sharpedo, because Sharpedo is effectively just half a shark, and then we have Delmise, which is like an anchor on a chain. I've solved the riddle, boys. What do we have next? We have this. So I think I've heard rumors about this, or maybe there was like an interview or some discussion about Pokemon, like an old Pokemon design. Like, I don't remember if it was like Sugimori that said, yeah, we actually tried to do a lanternfish or a lamprey, but it didn't end up working out, and then we ended up with actual lantern. So went from a very simple design to a Pokemon that actually has a lot of character. Lantern has a lot of character behind it, I feel. Same with Chinchou. So this is more just like very generic, ended up getting scrapped for being too generic and plain, and that makes a lot of sense. Crobat. Crobat's effectively the same, just a different sprite. Not going to really say different design change, just different sprite overall. But this one caught me off guard. Paris pre-evolution. You can tell with the second generation, they were just really going for whimsical world building and not necessarily making useful competitive Pokemon. Like, if we were stuck with this pre-evolution of Paris even now, like, it doesn't really go anywhere. At least Wigglytuff sees competitive play every once in a while. We see Clefable quite often. So some of the baby Pokemon actually make sense for, like, completing a Pokemon's lineage, but this one, not so much. Spinarak into Ariados. Skulltula vibes. Just kind of, like, Spinarak looks the same from this angle, and then tells a lot different right there. So just kind of, I guess, you know, streamlined it, make it have a bit more identity than Spider with Spooky Face and Spider with Spooky Face. Skarmory looks effectively the same, but I have no freaking clue what that is. None whatsoever. Okay, I am also completely... Oh, wait, no, never mind. I was about to say I'm completely lost by this, but I think that's Doduo's pre-evolution. That it has, like, you know, the really fluffy, feathery down that you see on young birds. And I guess it goes Trio, Duo, Trio. Interesting. And Sunflora apparently doesn't have a pre-evolution. Sunflora is just Sunflora. So does that mean that did we lose baby Vulpix? You know, we lost a baby Pokemon to get a pre-evolution to Sunflora and Sunkern? Because that's what I feel like happened. Vampy. Feels a bit more Dumbo. Different color, no, not really too much different color. I'm guessing like just paletting and the way that the second generation was designed, but overall, not really too different, like elephant into elephant, so not massive. Donphan looks exactly the same though. So Donphan's pretty much the same, and then we get into some other new Pokemon. Like, I feel like out of all the interviews or all the rumblings and rumors I've heard about like beta Pokemon or unreleased Pokemon, this dual sprite ghost thing is kind of weird. I think we can actually see the Pokemon that were cut or the Pokemon were modified. They don't feel like Pokemon. You know, this is a more Yaokai, ambiguous thing, ambiguous fish, ambiguous spider. So Pokemon has identity. Pokemon is Pokemon, and that was established more in the first generation. This just seemed to be taking like all the crazy designs, trying to apply it, making sprites for it, giving it functionality in the game, then realizing it just doesn't have a place in the Pokemon world, so they decided to make other ones. Now, Girafarig. So, Girafarig is another really weird one when it comes to the concept of demos and stuff like that. So scrolling past the purple Meryl, we can see this. This is the demo. This shows the things that are being data mined right now that we never saw before. So that was kind of it. Like, I guess Buku also maybe kind of falls into place somewhere. This is from the Space World 1997 demo version of Gold. And then when you play the full game, we find out there was so much more that was never seen, that never saw the light of day, that is only known to the developers of those games. And that's just what makes this extra wild, and like just the craziest thing to ever happen in Pokemon. Smeargle, the same. Baby Meowth. Like, why have we never heard about this? Why have we never heard about Baby Meowth and all of the other, like, just the tons of first-generation Pokemon that were supposed to have baby evolutions, but then were cut, I guess, just because too much filler, not enough use, maybe something like that. And then going into another cat-like Pokemon. I like this. It's got a bell for a tail. It seems to have, like, some kind of mystical lore behind it, just kind of playing with Black Cat. Yeah, it's just a play on Black Cat. I like that. Politoed. What happened to Politoed? What was Politoed? What is going on here? Well, I mean, we can see that some things, you know, we still have Politoed, so an evolution right there. Slowking still exists as well. The Unknown, those are relatively unchanged. So, yeah, like, some of this still makes sense and has cohesion of the second generation, but Ladybug. So, now we get to scroll down just a little bit. Ladybug into Ladian. Nope. So Ladian is known as like the 5-star Pokemon, and that's because it was supposed to be a 5-star Ladybug as the evolution to Ladybug, and that's just something that is completely different. So Ponyta had a baby form as well, and then the cool thing, one of the things coming from this is that Umbreon was supposed to be a poison Pokemon, which goes back to one of its Pokedex entries. So the Pokedex entry stuck, but the typing ended up changing. I guess they needed more dark Pokemon to sell this whole new typing thing that they were doing, and that's why we're left with it. And this also brings up the Golden Espeon. So Espeon's color was actually very different, and that kind of shows that this is the real sprite sheet. Then my last video, I just kind of took whatever for visual representation. I wasn't trying to be like, this is exactly it, guys. Oh my goodness. I knew that it was probably something edited or some kind of like art form, since it did have like a lot more high-def graphics, but I just want to kind of have it there for the concept. This kind of shows that we are in the OG sprite sheet right now. That makes things fancy. And then this. So Slowking's helmet, Shelter has its own evolution. So I think this is wow, what happened? You know, I'm trying to think about, because we had Blossom, so split evolution. We had Politoed, so split evolution, and Shelter was supposed to have a split evolution, but instead they split it with Slowbro. So I guess Slowking was supposed to be Slowbro's evolution, and then this would be some kind of like Shelter offshoot, but that just didn't happen. I guess it kind of makes sense, but yeah, this would be a really weird thing. I wouldn't like that as a Pokemon existing. Is that a baby Ditto? Wow. I didn't like get all the information yet, and I'm just kind of like going through this, but Baby Ditto or Baby Grimer, that's nutty. Remoraid had like a weird thing going on in its back. It's got it going on back there. But Remoraid into Octillery, I like the helmet. Like, it actually looks like a tank. It looks like an army man wearing a helmet that is a tank or something like that. Like, I feel like I've seen this design somewhere before in my life in like some kind of cartoon or something, but it works for artillery. And I guess that artillery. That name makes a lot more sense, but it just has Octazooka, which again works more for the original design. So artifacts of the original design lasting in a completely changed, completely different Pokemon. That's kind of wild. Tyrogue. I wonder if Tyrogue was actually supposed to do the thing that it does with Hitmonchan and Hitmonlee, because yeah, this is why I feel like that beta Pokemon design didn't happen, because that is trippy AF. That is, wow, like, so is it like the inner eye kind of thing, but are these its eyes? So is it upside down? Is it right side up? I don't even know anymore, and I'm too scared to care. Growlithe pre-evolution is one of the most adorable puppy things I've ever seen. That will never be forgiven. That's like super Animal Crossing vibes. We also have Hoppip, Skiploom, and Jumpluff. Very different. The coloring, yeah, I guess, yeah, the coloring different, but look at Jumpluff. Jumpluff is actually just supposed to be like a very cottony kind of spore. Well, actually, no, I don't even know, because it's still the same, because it still has a cotton spore on its head, but it was done in a much different flowery kind of design, and it was supposed to keep this longer tail, so kind of just being like a cat floof ball thing, and then just kind of getting tweaks, but still feeling pretty much the same. Like, you look at that, you can think, oh, that's just a beta design for this evolutionary line, and really no problems right there. Mime Jr. existed in the second generation. Huh. I guess that makes a bit more sense. Smoochum. Smoochum actually looks like a baby Jinx. I like this Smoochum a lot more. Like, the existing Smoochum is kind of weird and ugly, but this actually has, like, it feels like a miniature Jinx, which I think is a lot cooler. And there's Blossom. So we have design for Blossom, relatively the same. I'm just guessing, like, coloration and stuff like that. Maybe they just changed it naturally with the palette. Magby looks cooler. Magby looks a lot cooler, and Elekid looks worse. Like, I understand they're going for some kind of static rod, but Elekid, what it became, actually has a bit more definition. It feels like an actual living thing, which I think is points for if you're trying to design something. So, I don't know what this is. We already have 3 stages for... oh, wait, never mind. Split evolution for Weepinbell, because this is about split evolutions that didn't make it through. That makes sense. So I guess instead of Victory Bell, you get that. We're just never going to see it. So some of these designs were cool and just end up not happening. Fire Poplio. So we have, I guess after following up Seal, we have another performing sea line, and it's a fire type. I like the juxtaposition. That's really cool. Miltank, effectively the same. Delibird, different design, actually looks more like Santa. Has the beard going on. That's pretty cool. And it has, yeah, it feels more like a caricature of Santa put into the Pokemon world. We have these new electric Pokemon, like a little electric tiger. I think that's cute. I like that. I feel like I've seen something like this somewhere represented as well. But finally, we get into the real deal, boys. Far-fetched evolution. That is what life is about. Why didn't that happen in 4th generation? Why didn't that stick in the 2nd generation? Why hasn't it happened now? The 6th generation could have done more evolutions than just Sylveon. Give me my Dunsparce evolution. Give me my Farfetch'd evolution. Those guys deserve some love. Then we just have like this random performing Pokemon. Like that. I'm trying to remember what this is. It feels like something very Chinese, culture related, with some kind of like performing monkey, but looks like a panda. I feel like I've seen like caricatures of this in anime or something else. So I mean, that's a design. That's a whole evolutionary line that just never came into existence, or it existed and then ended up not happening. Murkrow with that different design, the long spindly witch's hat, really Halloween feeling. And that back sprite, dude. That back sprite is the cheekiest thing I have ever seen. That is mischievous. That is up to absolutely no good right there. Then we have Blissey. So Blissey, there's a couple of little cool subtle things. So like showing the heart, showing a very caring and loving Pokemon, but the dual wielding egg pouches. That's fancy right there. That is pretty fancy. Then apparently we have Proto Mega Scizor. And that's a crazy thing that we're noticing, that some of these older beta elements, completely forgotten, never before seen, doesn't really matter, you know, forget about it, didn't get released anyways, so why care? actually holding on and then becoming a part of the Mega Evolution, becoming a part of the future integration of that Pokemon. That's pretty cool. This looks like a Pinsir evolution. I guess it became Heracross. Like, we even have the horn for Heracross, but we have the Pinsir stuff going on. I don't really know what's going on with its face, though. Like, is it supposed to be... Yeah, I don't really know what's going on here. We don't have enough information about it. Then we have Houndoom, pretty much the same. New evolutionary line, that was scrapped. It's a fluffy thing. That tail tells me it's like probably some kind of fox yokai lore that's going on. That's a thing. Like, so now we have like this weird lion circly ball thing. Yo, once again, all right, so we have 4th generation Pokemon that could have happened, or other split evolutionary lines and other evolutionary lines of Pokemon. So that's the original Lickilicky. Steelix is the same, and then we get into the real fun. Entei, Raikou, and Suicune's original designs. It's like something from DeviantArt. I don't quite know how to describe that. Like, okay, Raikou looks cooler, I feel. So this is legendary dogs. Like, it went from legendary dogs to legendary beasts, and these actually have like their own feel to it. You know, we have super Goku electric anime dog right here, and that's kind of cool. I like these designs more, except for Suicune, because I feel that, you know, Entei and Raikou, they're a bit bulky. They have like a weird designed face, I feel, that I never really got into. Suicune was a lot more elegant, but this has word vibes to me, and it's starting to freak me out, so I'm not going to go any further. And then we have... I like that one more. I like that Kingdra a lot more, because that feels like a dragon. It's like they kind of took those little vibes from Dragonite and like, yeah, let's turn it into a dragon. They gave it the whiskers. They got that going on. Early Mienfoo, Mienshao design. I like him. He's a cute little something. Togepi exists somewhere at the Pokedex. Snubbull didn't get snubbed. Ambipom, and then randomly, is this Celebi? Is that early Celebi? Because that seems like the Guardian of the Forest, some kind of spirit forest thing. I don't think it... People could be like, oh no, it's Leafeon. No, I think that's actually early Celebi. That seems like a very foresty kind of creature, and then it became the Onion Fairy. And then Ho-Oh's design, as seen from the beta, as seen from the actual like title screen, how different it was. So there we go, guys. It's just crazy. It's so cool, too. Like, some of these I wish stuck. Some of these I'm happy to see that they were changed or were never implemented. But this is the craziest thing that's ever happened in Pokemon. This is like the most beta, unreleased Pokemon designs, and they were there. They existed in Pokemon Gold and Silver at some point. That, sure, they were removed because you need to save space and then you need to actually implement the game and stuff, and you're not going to have all this unused stuff inside of it. But when there was the demo for the Heart Gold and Soul, or not Heart Gold, for the Gold and Silver beta, this is real. This is Pokemon, and all of this exists inside of a Pokemon game. Wow. So, you guys, enjoy the video. Hope you all have a nice day. Thank you very much for watching.